Hi, I'm Alan. I'm the lead programmer at 5 ¼ Games. And in this video, I will be showing you the script engine for Time Heist and the playback tool, which has been developed as a testing application or a sandbox to test the scripts which will be written for the game. First off, I will start with a brief description of what the script engine does. So the script engine will be the component of the game which takes the game's script as an input. So, and I mean the script not in computer terms, not in the computational coding sense, but in the sense, the literary sense. So it's like the script for a movie or the script for a play. So the script engine takes this script as input and plays it out in the game itself. So the script engine started off as the conversation engine. So it started off as the component which controls just what the characters in the game say and what dialogue options are offered to the player when the player has to choose a particular line to respond to the characters. It eventually evolved into a much larger and much more important component, and it started controlling not just what the characters say, but also what the characters do and what actually happens in the game. So the script engine became a tool by which the scriptwriter will be able to kind of direct the game. It will be like directing a movie where the director not just tells the actors what lines to speak out, but he also directs what the actors do. So it will be placing the scriptwriter into the kind of the director's chair of the game. So I will just load up the playback tool for the script engine. Again, this will be the tool which we will be using to test the scripts which will be written for the game. We used Unity to develop the playback tool, and it makes sense because we will be using the script engine in the game, and the game will also be developed using Unity. So, it allows us a way of testing the script engine in its real environment and also developing further and refining the design of the script engine itself. So I can load up a script file. Now, scripts, test script .xml. So the script files are XML files, so they are plain text files and you can edit them using any text editor. I will not be going into details about the format of the script file itself, but I will say that it's very well documented on our wiki. So I will load the script file. Now the script file will contain lots of conversations, and in this particular script file I wrote 2 conversations for testing purposes. So I will start out with testing this particular conversation, which is the second one, entitled Pick Up House. So the idea behind this particular conversation is that the player character will walk up to a house which is in the scene, and he will interact with the house and choose the action to pick up the house. This doesn't make much sense, of course, but he can do it. So I'll just select this, and as you can see, there has been one character which is generated, which is meant to symbolize the player character, because there is only one role in this particular conversation, and that role is the player character. Over here in the condition box, you will be able to see all the conditions which affect the conversation or are affected by the conversation. So the script engine allows the script to actually monitor and affect the state of the game itself through the use of these conditions. And that allows the script engine to pull out a number of very useful tricks. Currently in this particular conversation, there are only two conditions which affect or are affected by this particular conversation. So I will choose to play the conversation. I can pause the conversation, reset it, and quit the application and load a different conversation. So right now I will play the conversation, and what you're going to see is what happens when the player tries to pick up the house in the game, the conversation that happens. So, whoa, that's a massive house. Even if I had the superhuman strength to uproot it, how the hell am I supposed to fit it in my pocket? So that's it. So that's the conversation which happens if the player tries to pick up the house and none of these conditions are satisfied. So let's assume now that the player continued playing the game and somehow acquired these superhuman, the superhuman strength. So let's see what happens now. Whoa, that's a massive house. With these gloves of superhuman strength, I'll be able to uproot it. But still, how the hell am I supposed to fit it in my pocket? And that's the end of the conversation. So as you can see, the conversation flow actually changed based on the conditions which have been modified by the rest of the game. So let's see what happens if we satisfy both conditions now. So the player character now has somehow obtained both superhuman strength and mild deep pockets. So let's see what happens now. Again, whoa. That's a massive house. With these gloves of superhuman strength. Oh, sorry about that. I'll start it again. Whoa, that's a massive house. With these gloves of superhuman strength and these pants of mild deep pockets, nothing stands between that house and my inventory. Player picks up house. There you go. So as you can see, the player was actually able to pick the house up. What is notable in that last flow of conversation is the red text which appeared over here. And this symbolizes an action. So in that particular point, the script engine actually instructed the game to take a particular action. And the action was that the player character would pick up the house and place it in his inventory. Right now, the script engine, of course, couldn't play that action out, but it could only represent the action textually on the screen. But the concept is there. We can also have a situation where the player has found the mild deep pockets, but not obtained superhuman strength yet. So let's see what happens in that case. Again, that's a massive house. I'll be able to carry it around in these pants of mild deep pockets. But how am I supposed to uproot it without superhuman strength? So as you can see, each different case is catered for through the script engine and through this particular conversation. And through clever use of flows and conversation and playing around with these conditions over here, you'll be able to create very complex, very adaptive conversations for the game. So one particular thing which was missing from this conversation is the ability for the player to choose a particular conversation option, a particular line, because this particular conversation did not feature the need to do so. That's why I'm going to load the second script in this script, second conversation in the script file, the insult sword fighting conversation. With this insult sword fighting conversation, I try to kind of recreate the insult sword fighting kind of minigame, which was present in Monkey Island 1 and featured in many other Monkey Island games. But the insults and comebacks for this particular conversation have been lifted, you can say, from Monkey Island 1. So, as you can see, this time two portraits have been generated, and these represent the two roles in this particular conversation. One of them will be the player character, the other one will be the sword fighting opponent, kind of. There are many, many, many more conditions in this particular conversation than there were in the last one. There are around over 30, around 35 conditions if I'm not mistaken. Most of them are either chosen insult 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Others are chosen comeback 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And there are the last two ones, which are round 1 and round lost. Now, the game affects the script through these conditions, and the script affects the game through these same conditions. So I will just play the conversation without any conditions set or satisfied. Hey, you there, smelly pirate. What? Now, this is the first conversation choice the player has to make. He can either respond by saying never mind and the conversation will end, or choose to challenge the other person, the other character, by choosing this conversation option, up to a round of insult sword fighting. So for now I will just choose never mind. And the conversation ended. So I can start that conversation again the same lines. And now I'm gonna choose the other option, up to a round of insult sword fighting. So over here I got the action which requires I just pause the conversation, which I can do by pressing F1. As you can see, there have been two actions now in red. Characters draw swords and characters fight. Now, in the action where the characters fight, the game will be supposed to randomly choose an insult which will be used by the opponent, the sword fighting opponent. So I'm gonna choose, I don't know, insult number 7, and unpause the game, the conversation. Now, I'm gonna pause again, and the opponent has spoken out the 7th insult, which is nobody's ever drawn blood from me and nobody ever will. So I'll unpause. And now the player character is offered the choice box again, where I've got all the comebacks which I can choose. Now, you will see that as soon as I choose an option from the choice box, one of these conditions will be automatically set. And of course, since insult number 7 has been chosen, I will choose the correct comeback, which is comeback number 7. So the correct comeback will be, I hope now you've learned to stop picking your nose. So as soon as I select this option, you will see that the 7th comeback condition will be automatically set. And that's how the script engine affects the rest of the game. So I'll pause now. And as you can see, the comeback 9, oh, that's actually the wrong answer. So I'll mark round lost. Has been chosen. I suck at this game. I'll unpause. Fight resolves, and this is the action in which I was supposed to set the condition indicating whether the round is won or the round has been lost. In this case, the round has been lost, and the opponent says, okay, you lose. Again, the cycle repeats. So another insult is chosen. Now I'll unset the 9th, come back, and see the 7th insult being played again. Nobody's ever drawn blood for me, and nobody ever will. Okay, now I remember the correct response to that. So the correct response is, you run that fast, fight resolves, and this time, since the fight has resolved and I've chosen the correct comeback to the insult, I will select, the game will select for me the round 1 condition. So it will set the round 1 condition. I will unpause. And now I got the response where the opposing character says, you win. And this cycle repeats. So imagine the next fighting sequence will randomly select a different insult, which will be, for example, insult 3. Now this time around I will get a different insult. My handkerchief will wipe up your blood. And the correct response for that is the 3rd comeback, which will be, so you got the job as a janitor after all. The fight resolves. I'm going to pause. As you can see, comeback 3 has been chosen. And the round is won since I chose the right comeback to the insult. You win. So as such, that's it for the conversation engine. Two small notes. I can just, so I can reset a conversation which sets all the states to the initial states. I can reset all conversation conditions which causes any set conditions to be reset. And I will just load up the other conversation. And I can use a couple of shortcut keys to perform useful functions in the playback tool. So one of them is the space key, in which I'm allowed to skip actions and conversation lines. And the other one is, as I had explained before, F1, which causes the pause functionality, which pauses the conversation. And F1 again to unpause. I can also use the button to pause the conversation. So, as simple as that. So that's it for this demo. Thank you very much, and hopefully I'll have more soon. Thank you.